You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, the #1 resource for growing your function musician business. If you're a solo wedding singer, part of a 12-piece luxury show band, or anything in between, and want to learn from other successful musicians, you're in the right place.
You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, and on today's episode, I'm super excited to be joined by pianist, singer, entrepreneur, and I believe our first Canadian guest, Michelle Lynne. Michelle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Well, now I'm very honored to be here if I'm the first Canadian.
Yeah, I mean, I always love having guests from across the pond, normally from America, I have to say, just to get that kind of different perspective on the industry, because I feel like it is slightly different from the UK to the US, but a lot of it does cross over. But having said that, I feel like you actually do a lot of your work in Europe, right?
Yeah, I've been based here for 12 years. So most of my work is here. I'm in France a lot, even though I live in the Netherlands.
Nice. I mean, that's a perfect place to kick off is tell our audience just a little bit about who you are, kind of where you got started as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I finished my studies in Montreal, did the whole route that you're supposed to do as a classical musician, bachelor's, master's, artist diploma. The next step for me was either a doctorate, which everyone was doing, or jumping over to Europe for what I thought would be a short stint to study with different teachers. And I really wrestled with doing a doctorate. If you're familiar with North American faculty positions, it's pretty much a requirement these days. So I wasn't sure what to do, but I told my teacher, save my spot. I'm coming back in 2 years. Actually froze my apartment, kept my grand piano, kept the apartment, everything. I just sublet it. And I'm like, I'm coming back. And then after, 4 or 5 months being over here in Europe, it was like, oh, wait, like I can get on a flight for 20 euros to Italy. I think I need to stay longer. So then from there, just started to try and figure out life over here.
Yeah.
I never really thought about going back to the doctorate seriously, although sometimes in the middle of the night, panic sweats. You're like, should I have done it? But anyway, I have peace with my decision now. And, maybe I'll do it again in the future. You never know.
Yeah. So 12 years in Europe. And is that moving around or kind of in one place or?
Yeah. So just in the last 3 years, things kind of took off with full-time travel, I would say. With candlelight concerts, they actually got me onto like their French team, as well as Belgian and Dutch and Switzerland, because I'm very well located. I'm in Maastricht, which is kind of the center of Europe. So with them, I started doing like 8 to 10 performances per month all around those countries, as well as my own stuff that I had going before, which is a chamber music series that I run here. And so combined with all of that, things kind of took off. And this is my base. And I'm very, very happy because I come home to like my quiet grand piano place to practice, and I don't pay huge rent like in Amsterdam. But at the same time, I've gotten to see a lot, and that's really cool. Yeah.
I mean, apart from the side of just living in Europe and being able to travel and stuff like that, do you think that, there being more work here is another reason that you stayed, or?
I mean, I think because you can just so quickly get to a different country and cultures and groups, networks, musicians are always running in circles, right? So you just have more circles to access. And I kind of just got into like a Parisian circle. And then this person knows this person, and you know how important our network is. So I think the more cities you can kind of have these circles in, then you can get called for these concerts or invite them to do things, do projects.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of idea what the market for a musician like yourself in like Canada and the US is at the minute? Is it harder? Is it easier?
Well, speaking from Canada first, there's just fewer major centers. However, I do have a pianist friend of mine, and she's in between like Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal. So I think she has full-time work doing great projects and things. So, I mean, I think the freelance gift, curse, whatever, is like, you got to just put in the grind and like fill your schedule yourself. And I think just the States varies widely depending on where you are. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it is. Yeah. I think it is much easier to build a network in multiple cities than just the one city, I assume. So after school, after you finished studying and stuff like that, then what was kind of your first steps into freelance musicianship?
I just kind of went with what I knew, which was looking for playing opportunities and teaching. I got really into building my own private piano studio, which I did for a long time, and I loved it. And then looking for, as I was saying, a lot of chamber music. I did a lot of accompanying. I've always been really good at sight reading. I love people. I love working with people. So playing for people's exams, juries, it was, back when I came over, I was 25. So everybody's still doing their thing. I auditioned for a couple master's degrees over here, did some master classes, just like doing the thing, trying to figure it out, looking for opportunities, talking to people, getting connected. That was probably the biggest challenge, is like, where do you start? This is hard.
Yeah. And I guess as that's kind of what like bred the fearless artist, right? They're not knowing what to do when you finish school. So yeah, I mean, we'll get into it straight away. Like, tell us a little bit about what the fearless artist is, and kind of how it came about.
Yeah, the fearless artist has started with my best friend Deanna Petre, who was based in Paris 10 years. So coming back to those Parisian circles, it's because of one of these. Just a brief tangent, but like I met a Canadian violinist who was in Paris, and she's like, we have a quartet and we want to put it together and maybe you can audition. So I started working with them, and I was every 2 weeks in a blah blah car going to Paris to rehearse with them and work. And so through that, I met Deanna. We started playing together, and then at some point, she went to Juilliard. She did her master's in Paris. She's excellent, highly trained, highly skilled. And she was like sitting in her Parisian apartment, staring at the wall, being like, what am I doing? Like, no one told me what to do after I finished my studies. And I've studied at two of the biggest institutions. And so for her, it was like that moment, and for me, I'm such a people person. I really need connection. I love like teams. I love being part of something. And so getting isolated was like a real killer. Like that kind of crushed me, because I left my country and my culture at the same time. Like in the university, all the pianists practice on the 5th floor. So like every day you go to the 5th floor, we're all there. We're all part of this thing, and then suddenly you're like alone. And it was just kind of brutal. So we were introduced to the mastermind concept by some of her Juilliard colleagues, which was like 4 of us on a Zoom call, sharing and making a short-term goal, 3-month goal, and then going after it. Like no excuses, get all the crap out of the way. Like stop telling yourself you can't figure this out. Stop putting it off for the most urgent things, Eisenhower matrix. And that was how I set up my foundation for my concert series. And it was something that was like very intimidating to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, this system works. So we need to start our own. I put up a post on Instagram. One post, 10 people were like, yes, I need this. We started facilitating groups from there. And now 5 years later, we have a monthly membership. There's 40 plus in there, and the mastermind of 8 to 10 people. Professional development for classical musicians is a great way to summarize.
Yeah. I mean, and just for those who kind of don't know what mastermind is literally just a group where you can kind of connect, discuss ideas, and get maybe some accountability for like the plans. You said like a 3-month plan, get some accountability for pushing that forward, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Accountability, support, advice, asking the group, being around people who understand you. I mean, we all have many people speaking doubt into our lives. If you're a musician, anytime you share what you're doing, your life, what you do for work, people are going to be like, okay, but how do you pay your bills? Or like, don't you not like being on the road all the time? Or like, oh, so you just practice all day? And like those little thoughts can eat away at your dreams. So it's so important that you surround yourself with other people who get it. And they're like, no, don't listen to that. Like, we know what we're doing. You just got to go for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's super lonely being self-employed in any industry, I think, but maybe even more so as a musician. I'm not sure. So, I mean, when you started that, was that kind of like, for help for yourself as well, rather than starting it for other people? Like, this is I want this group so I can get advice on what to do, pushing my career forward. And do you still get that from it as well?
I mean, I wouldn't say that's why we started it, but I've absolutely benefited from being around like-minded people. But I think when I started, it was just like, okay, everyone needs to know about this and we can do a great job of facilitating. So we really function as facilitators. So we're not participating in the group in the sense that we're like sharing goals or we're asking for accountability from the group. We really put it as like we're kind of coaching the group. But in that sense, like I've hired a coach for every single thing you can hire a coach for, like, business, fitness, life, piano, whatever it is I need. I'm very happy to learn from other people.
Yeah. I mean, I've done business coaching and stuff as well. And I've talked a lot about it on this podcast. Like, I think for me, it's, I don't know if it works for everyone, but for me, it definitely works. And the main thing is that just that accountability, like making sure I do the things I say I'm going to do on by the time I say I'm going to do it, even with a little bit of support as well.
And also the clarity to know, like, what am I supposed to be doing? I think that's another big thing.
And sometimes like when you're doing it, finding out that actually, they say, that's a good idea, and following it through.
Right. And you need that social proof of somebody else saying like, I know someone else who's done this worked for them, just so you're not like throwing spaghetti at the wall. Yeah.
But I mean, so where did you learn all this stuff?
Well, entrepreneurship, I mean, I've been on faculty now for 3 years at 2 universities here in the Netherlands. So I've a lot of books, a lot of podcasts. My colleague, I have a business coach that, has taught me a lot around marketing, branding, business, got into the entrepreneurship kind of don't know, buzz maybe 8 years ago, started reading the books. I love Marie Forleo, Seth Godin. Learning these kind of ideas of marketing is sharing. And like, as musicians, we need to learn how to share. And then my go-to is Instagram, learning how to share what I was doing on a daily basis, building connections, building relationships. And then from there, getting work opportunities.
Yeah. So if someone signs up for your coaching, what's the kind of first steps that you go through with them?
It really depends what people are needing. I mean, the monthly community that we have is great, but it's a bigger group, 40 people. So you come in, it's kind of self-led in the terms of you set your own goals, you write them down in our Slack channel, there's accountability, people check in. We do a group discussion and then we go into breakout rooms. But it's really about building community and connection with other classical musicians where you can ask advice from the group, just be around in a good place of people. Our mastermind is much more focused. There's, like I said, only 8 people in there. So that's where we're really going through, like, what's your career strategy? What are you aiming to achieve? Again, the clarity is huge for people because they have all these ideas and projects that they never get to. They're like, I want to do this recording or this album release or this new concert series or this podcast or whatever. But it's like such a big thing in their head that they don't know how to break it down, categorize it, get started, and then it gets overwhelming. And then you have your bills to pay and your lessons to teach and there's no time anymore.
Yeah.
So it really depends what people are looking for. We also do a social media program. It's 6 weeks long and that's really getting your content strategy up and running. So I sit with people and I listen, basically. It's my job as a coach.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about social media a little bit then. Do you have a strategy that you teach or a strategy that you follow yourself?
Yes. I'm very passionate about this. First of all, stop hiding. People don't share what they're doing. Like they'll just overthink everything and not put themselves out there for 1,000 reasons. And I've heard every excuse under the sun at this point, because also from my students in the bachelor's, master's programs, and also my clients in TFA. So I think number one is like, you have to be putting yourself out there with what you actually do, or else people don't know how they can hire you. In terms of strategy, we talk really a lot about like visibility content and nurturing content. So as musicians, I really believe we should use the platform differently than what like the big influencers say. If you're familiar with Kevin Kelly's 1,000 True Fans strategy, we don't need millions of followers. We don't need millions of fans. We need 1,000 true fans, people who will support you, follow you your whole career, ideally give you $100 per year directly. So then you would make $100,000 if you had 1,000 true fans. That's the concept, right? Mm-hmm. So how can you create a core engaged following of people who actually care about you, your concerts, and are invested in your life, your career? So that comes down to, visibility. You need some eyeballs, but then after that, you need to go talk to people who are actually paying attention and get to know them and let them know how they can go down the funnel of becoming like a core audience member from this bigger, large, maybe knowing your name, but not knowing anything further than that. Yeah.
So, okay. So let's go maybe like a weekly kind of strategy then. You said, was it visibility and nurturing content? So maybe let's have some examples of like visibility content versus nurturing content.
Yeah, sure. Visibility content would be anything funny, a trend, something that would get like a lot of eyeballs on you. Maybe you're making like a crossover video, pop classical, just to reach a wider audience. Anything that like a lot of people would be like related to, they could see themselves in, or it's, educational, or it's funny. Of course, engagement is down right now super much on Instagram. I don't know if you have the same. So it's a little bit disheartening, but do not fear. We just keep it going. Nurturing content would be more like letting people in a sense of talking to them personally about something, sharing some personal thoughts, being a little bit more like, how relationships, you talk differently to your grandma than you talk to your best friend, than you talk to the postman, right? So nurturing content is really more like you're talking to people who already have an idea of who you are and what you're about, and you're sharing something that's more specifically about you. It's not just like a billboard, like next concert, here's book my studio, book my voice lesson. It's like, here's what I think about this thing. What do you think? And then you can start conversations in the comments and get to actually build community.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the time as well, I see people making the mistake of aiming their content at people that are similar to them. So like other singers, for example, or other musicians, rather than actual people that will end up booking them. And so, you can build a good following and get good engagement with that, but it's the wrong people because they're never going to hire you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's how we start the social media program is who's your audience? ideal client, right? What's your message? Like, what do you want them to know? Like, and like, what do you want to say to them? Okay, who are we talking to and what are we saying? Those are the two basic things. And then defining your offer. What do you actually want people to hire you for? You know, when I taught piano full time for, 5 or 6 years, 30 students. And then at one point I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So even though I was still teaching, I no longer talked about my students on my Instagram. Because I don't want people calling me and saying, can you teach my kid? No, I cannot. I am done. Doesn't matter that I'm still teaching. That's none of your business, ma'am. Like, I am only going to tell my audience what I want them to think of me when they come onto my stuff. Oh, Michelle does concerts and she can probably coach you and like make you feel encouraged about something. I should go talk to her. Right.
So, and I'm assuming we're just talking about Instagram in a minute. Do you use TikTok as well? Or?
Everything I was doing TikTok pretty intensely. I never blew up on there. One of my best friends from university blew up. She's Harpist KT and she got to like 2.2 million during COVID. So I kind of regret missing the TikTok train, but I've used it. And right now I just repost everything from Instagram to TikTok automatically. It's kind of a lazy strategy.
Yeah. We had Nicole Reynolds. I don't know, you may or may not know her. She's also a pianist who also does candlelight stuff as well, I think. But Nicole Reynolds goes as Piano Cole on Instagram and TikTok. But she had 1 million plus followers on TikTok as well. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, awesome.
I haven't ventured into that world yet, but I'm not
I should call
sure
her,
if I will.
ask her what she did.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got visibility content versus nurturing content, and then how often should we post, and is there literally a schedule that you follow for that, or is that kind of just like, okay, I need to post something today, so I'll do it?
So we have 2 accounts. We have the Fearless Artist, and that one's a little bit more focused. That one I'm really doing like 3 talking heads a week. We're doing 2 funny memes a week. We're doing 3 encouraging graphic posts a week, shareable content. You know, we do this thing called Say It With Me. My music has impact. My audience cares about what I have to say. Just like kind of declarative statements to overcome any negative thoughts. Those don't have a lot of likes on them, but I know that it matters and it reinforces our brand messaging of what we stand for. So those are the other things that need to watch out. Like you need to make sure you're paying attention to the right metrics when it comes to social media. Coming back to like musicians using social media in a different way than an influencer. Because I think if you are so worried, like, oh, this post only got 26 likes, it's like, yeah, but I pay attention also to the feedback that I get. People are like, oh, that really resonated with me, or I've seen those kind of posts that I really like, or asking for feedback from your audience, I think really matters. So with the Fearless Artist account, we have a strategy. With my account, I kind of, if I'm on the road, I'll make, we're doing like a vlog, or I'll do a behind the scenes. I'll talk to the audience from backstage. People love that. I started going live backstage between concerts. People also love that. I just try different things. I was going live during my sound check. People loved that. Then they could request songs, hang out with them for a bit. I think that was one of the best community building strategies I've used, actually. Mm-hmm. Then I try to do like a playing video a week, a practicing video. I really like to show behind the scenes. My core values are authenticity. So I try to let that be seen rather than just doing like the highlight reel of like, here's all the glam of the career. But I'm like, yeah, but also like I have to go to the gym and practice. So like it's not all shiny.
This episode is brought to you by Acoustic Backs and Tracks, your go-to source for premium acoustic back and tracks that sound and feel like the real deal. Whether you're performing at weddings, recording content, or just practicing at home, it's like having a professional band right there with you. Their tracks are recorded by top session musicians with real instruments and real emotion. No lifeless MIDI here. Need something custom? They've got you covered. From key changes to mashups to exclusive tracks made just for you. Plus, their customer support is fast, friendly, and actually understands musicians. No task is too big for them. And here's the best part. Listeners of the Full-Time Function Musician podcast get 10% off their first order. Just head to acousticbacksandtracks.com and use the code FUNCTION10 at checkout. That's function all in capitals and 10 at the end, but you can find their website link and the code in the episode description. Do you teach any other marketing strategies apart from like social media and stuff?
So we talk, I'll get the pushback from people like, oh, I don't want to be on Instagram. Okay, great. What do you want to be on? Because we'll talk about that. If you want to write your blog, let's talk about your blog. But it's always going to come to, YouTube channel, LinkedIn, whatever you want to say, your newsletter, email list. Awesome. Like, even a Patreon or your podcast. Maybe your podcast is your main form of reaching your audience, but it comes down to like, you need to have an audience and you need to talk to them. So how are you doing that? And I think the strategies we teach through the Instagram are going to come through in any channel that you use, no matter what. because it's all about, like, a lot of people will say, oh, I don't need to be online because I've got word of mouth recommendations for gigs. It's like, yeah, but the word of mouth comes from them seeing you, right?
Yeah.
Touch points visually on their Instagram, on their phones. And then the relationship is a lot easier to like break the ice because they already know who you are.
Yeah. There's the concept of like the word of mouth death trap, right? Which is where you only hear that word of mouth works from people that have made it through the really hard time of making that work and done it for years and years. So people then think, oh, this works. Word of mouth. I should be just using word of mouth because advertising myself, that's for losers or whatever. But actually that's just, it's really rare that you can just get through on a career with just word of mouth. Like it doesn't work for hardly anyone.
I mean, I think there's a tipping point eventually, right? Where your phone starts to ring,
for sure.
which is great. I mean, I love getting when the phone rings and they ask you, you're like, yes, I didn't have to fight for this opportunity. I would love to come, you know?
Yeah. If you're at the start of your journey though, or even midway through, you definitely need to be marketing yourself. Yeah. So what is your favorite way of marketing yourself? Was that Instagram or?
I mean, Instagram has been my go-to channel for, I like talking. So
yeah.
I also my podcast. I don't think I realized when I started the podcast, it would become a great networking opportunity tool.
Yeah. I found that exactly the same.
I couldn't believe the doors that were opening with me just because I had a podcast. Like one of the biggest names who wrote like the book for entrepreneurship, Angela Miles Beeching. She reached out to me on the podcast. I almost fell over when I saw her email. I'm like, wait, what? Like, this is so backwards. I should be like begging to be an hour of your time, you know? And she's like, can I come on your podcast? I'm like, yes, you can. So that's been fun. I like talking to people, like I said, so Instagram, multiple ways, like going live. I love going live because then everybody comes on, they're like asking questions. They're like, oh, I saw you in Nantes. I saw you in Rennes. I loved the show. I haven't forgotten your last concert. I'm like, wow, this means so much. And I wouldn't know unless I made myself available to talk to my audience, which also is very encouraging in the days that you don't have concerts because it keeps you going through the ebb and flow.
Yeah.
I like posting content, but I don't like it if there's no comments. So I guess it's like about, for me, creating like the laugh, the connection. Like, are people getting this? Do they see themselves in this? Is it fun?
Yeah. Did you, on that podcast episode, and I apologize, I don't know who, what was her name again? Sorry.
Angela Miles Beeching.
No, I've not heard of her.
She's a former classical cellist, and now has gone into classical musician coaching. And she's just great. I mean, she wrote this book called Beyond Talent, and it goes through every single chapter is like, here's how to write your bio. Here's how to network. Here's what to say at an event after a concert. Here's how to not be awkward standing in the corner with your drink. Like, I mean, just like everything you need, your website, your branding, everything is in that book. And I used it for my curriculum. So it was great.
Yeah. And I'm going to get people to go and listen to that episode if they want to obviously learn all about it. But have you got any like highlights that you remember from it that she taught? Yeah,
I mean, she's amazing. She talks a lot about flow state and the shadow self. Mm-hmm. So if you're familiar with Jonas Hill, he's an actor who made a Netflix documentary with his therapist who's called Phil Stutz. And on Netflix, there's a documentary called Stutz. And she recommended that to me.
Yeah.
It's excellent. And so I got both of his books. Actually, I have it right here because I was reading it yesterday, and it's called The Tools. So these are for creatives, and it's kind of ways like mental health tools. If you get stuck, if you're getting in a rumination state, if you're getting in a depressed state, if you're, it's talking about these tools that he uses with his clients and then puts them all in this great book. One of them being like getting into a gratitude flow rather than a rumination flow, that kind of stuff. So she talked about that on the episode, and I thought that was just profound. And she actually did like a coaching exercise with me live on the episode. And she's going to be coming to speak we're doing an all-day career marathon day, September 8th, with a fellow colleague of mine. And we're doing guest speakers the whole day. And she's one of our guest speakers. I'm really excited about that.
Nice. Yeah. So, because I saw on your website, you do guest speaking a lot now at events as well, right?
Yeah, I just spoke in Berlin at the Classical Next conference, teaching about branding and marketing. And that was super fun.
What is that? What is the Classical Next conference?
Yeah, Classical Next is apparently, it's like the biggest classical music conference in the world, which I didn't know until a friend wrote me like 3 days before the application deadline. It was like, hey, you should submit for this. And I'm like, I don't know what this is. And they had 1,500 people there and exhibitions from like all over the world. People fly in like from Australia, Canada, everybody came to Berlin And there's presentations on everything that's kind of going on in the industry. There was artist labels, record labels, Deutsche Grammophon was there. A lot of talk around fundraising. There's a lot of funding being cut right now in Germany. So there's a lot of worry and fear around that. A lot about AI, a lot about diversity, inclusivity conversations. And then I had applied to speak about, branding as a classical musician, finding your own unique voice, and 3 ways we can do that, which are words, actions, and visuals. So I presented on that, and it was so great. They gave me a movie theater because there was so much demand, and there was like 40 people in the room, and I was like doing my TED Talk thing, and I had my slides on the big movie screen. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to talk about branding in a little bit then. What are your sort of tips when it comes to branding yourself?
I think branding has been misunderstood as just like, the logo and the font and the color.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at with branding is a much more holistic view of who are you as an artist and what's important to you. And so to do that, we do a core values exercise with people, and we could just kind of dig in and say, you are more than what you do as a musician. You're a person with like thoughts and feelings and other influences. And all of that combined makes you an artist with all of your influences and the things that come out. And Julia Cameron speaks about this so beautifully in her book, The Artist's Way, which I'm sure you know. So like all of these things come into it. So what's important to you? Like, a lot of people talk about like activism, or they'll talk about, the environment, or they'll talk about family or relationships, or different influences, people that have inspired them, art from other genres that's inspired them through the ages. And so when you look at your core values and what matters to you, you'll find that it's unique compared to the next pianist who all plays the same 500 pieces that you do, maybe faster and better. And you don't have to compete anymore if you can say, this is what I bring to the stage. This is who I am. This is my identity as an artist. And this is what I give my audiences. And then from that, you can start to talk to people based on those stories and what's important to you. And you'll find the people, again, coming back to the 1,000 true fans concept, like we don't need everyone in the world to love you and think you're the best. You just need your audience, and it's out there. They are out there. They just need to discover you, right?
Yeah.
So the more clear you can get on saying something specific about you, then it becomes a lot easier to keep those themes around you. And branding, of course, is like you heat the iron in the fire and you sear it to the animal. So branding is repetition. It's keywords about you, 3 to 5 things that people will associate with you when they think of you. Another thing you can say is like, why would anyone search my page? Why would they come to my concert? Why would they come to my website? What do people say to me after I finish performing? What was the experience that I gave them on stage? Like all of these are clues to like how you're being perceived, and then how you can amplify that to be memorable.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, where they go wrong just from the offset, is not knowing their audience, and not having a niche that's defined enough to be able to speak to anyone. Do you have any, maybe it's a bit broad, but do you have any advice on like trying to find a niche or where you should aim for stuff like that?
A niche being like they're in a specific genre of music, and
your audience, the audience that you want to speak to.
So if I think about it from like the fearless artist perspective, I started talking a lot about perfectionism because that was something that held me back for many years. So when we talk about visibility, nurturing content, I think nurturing for me was really like, hey, this is how I've been overcoming this. This has held me back. How is it for you guys? And then I kind of became associated with like this, mental encouragement, positivity, overcoming, killing perfectionism. I started a challenge on Instagram. Like when you find themes of things that are important to you, I think I would start there. And then from there, you can do, we're also in our membership this month, we were doing like an archetype quiz, finding your archetype. There are 12 different archetypes according to Carl Jung, Jungian psychology. And so in each one, there are different keywords associated with being the explorer archetype, or the creative, or the hero, or the rebel. And so if you think, I'm against the industry, I'm rebellious, then, you can pick a color palette that's going to reinforce those colors, those core values, the font type, all of those things, but they're coming based on what the message is, what you want to say. You're not just picking a font because it looks pretty to you. You're picking it because it says something about you.
Yeah. That's super interesting. Before we move on to the next bit of the show, is there anything else that you would like to mention before, just about branding or anything like that?
I mean, I would just say it has to be, a lot of people say that they don't want to get started on let's sharing content. Pick your platform. Okay, I say Instagram, but insert whatever platform you want to use, right? They don't want to share because there's so many people out there, or they don't want to come across as fake. That's something we get a lot. So branding, if you can figure out authentically what you care about, and then again, amplify that, you're going to feel so much more confident showing up online because you're like, this is who I am and this is my message. And I know there are people who care about me and what I have to say. And so I would also recommend, like, when you do get that feedback, if people are like, I totally needed to hear this today, like screenshot that and read it every time you start to have that imposter syndrome before you go to hit post. Cause you're like, wait, if I don't show up, then someone else is not going to get it. They're going to suffer because I didn't speak up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imposter syndrome is, as everyone gets it, and it's the worst. But if there was a cure for that, I'd love to know it. But
yeah, I think belonging and connection is a great cure for that, because when people are vulnerable and authentic and being like, hey, we struggle with this too. I mean, even yesterday I had someone come to our community call and he's like, oh, I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome because you guys are all like performing classical musicians and I'm like kind of in the pop world. I was like, dude, we had a studio teacher come in and she was like, oh, you guys are all performing artists and I'm just a teacher. Like, I mean, everyone's going to come in and figure out the one reason why they shouldn't be there. Like, we just all disqualify ourselves. So it's like, well, let's focus on the connections that we do have with each other and how you can be a contribution, and then look for the feedback and say, okay, that's all I needed was to give something and to have a meaningful connection.
Yeah. And finding that community is super important for that as well. And I guess I'd implore anyone to try and find a community if you haven't already, with like-minded musicians or anything like that, to just kind of help with those situations. But yeah, let's move on to the next bit of the show, which is talking back to you a little bit again. I want to talk about some of your best gigs and your worst gigs, or just a time to brag or share any funny stories that you might have from, I'm sure, one of the thousands of shows you've done.
Oh man, worst gigs. When the audience walked into my dressing room when my dress was half zipped. That was brutal. I was in an aquarium. So Candlelight has gotten some really cool venues. That's part of their thing, right? They find these ridiculously beautiful venues. They stick a grand piano in there. They stick in 8,000 candles, and then it's like this wow effect. So
I have always wondered, are they battery power candles or real candles?
They are not real. I would have burned many times by now. With all the dresses. So, I was in an aquarium and they wanted to stick me in a dressing room. Of course, it's an aquarium. It's not built for a concert hall. So there's no dressing room. And they wanted me to be like in another building outside. I was like, no, listen, like I'm pulling my diva card. I need to be beside the concert hall. They're like, okay, we'll put you upstairs. Well, upstairs was the only time there was a public bathroom, the only other place. So at some point I've got like all my food. I was like obsessed with eating enough bananas back then. So I've got like bananas spread out and my salad half eaten and like my bra's hanging out somewhere. And then I'm like half zipped and it's this purple dress that I can't zip by myself. And then I'm looking around the corner for the coordinator and all of a sudden I see this old man like walking up the stairs to go find the bathroom. And I'm like, sir, you cannot come up here. Like, I'm the artist. It was really bad. Another bad gig. Well, I mean, all the times I've been super late arriving, like once I walked in 10 minutes after I was supposed to have started playing, and like rolling my suitcase past 500 people who are just sitting there patiently for me, you know, and you're just like, give me a minute, guys, got to get dressed. I'll come back out in a second. You know, French traffic, I can blame maybe. Or just one where we thought like it was a solo performance. I was with a trio and it turns out that it was like a Rotary Club dinner, and they were all super drunk and just wanted to talk to each other. So they were like yapping over our Schumann and Mozart. And I was so ticked because I'm like, guys, like we prepared, you should listen, you know? Yeah. I'm very traumatized from background gigs. I will never do one again.
Yeah. Some of the good ones.
Oh, well, Victoria Hall in Geneva. I just got to go play there in December. And that was a dream. It was a dream because when you work at the top level of professionals, like I'm standing backstage, there's 3 guys there watching the screen. There's a countdown timer. He's got a microphone. He's like, artist entrance in 5, you know, and they like open the door and I go out, 800 people there. I had a dress collab come in from Lyon in France. We did a photo shoot before in the hall. I mean, she brought in makeup and hair. It was the max. It was so cool.
Yeah, nice. Have you ever gone back to Canada to perform at all, or has all of your work been over here?
I used to try and put on a concert when I went home. I did a few. And then I think about 5 or 6 years ago, I'm like, no, like if I'm home, I'm here to see my parents and just chill. Like I need that time. It was just too stressful. Also, because I live in a very rural, it's like a 5-hour drive from the main city. So it's like, you're tired, you're jet lagged. Now I got to try and squeeze in a concert but I think every time I go home now, there's like someone else that wants to do something. So I'll probably I'm happy to play. It's just also families become more and more important to me because I have a niece and a nephew now. So I just want to focus on them.
Nice. Yeah. So the Fearless Artist, obviously the content and the coaching is aimed towards classical musicians, but I feel like it's super relevant to any kind of musician really. But if they wanted to learn a little bit more about what you do or download any of your free content, where would you send them for that?
Yeah, they can DM us on Instagram, the Fearless Artist Mastermind. And to your point, we called ourselves intentionally the Fearless Artist because we didn't want to be the musician, because the things that we're teaching are applicable to all the arts. We've had journalists come into the community. We've had photographers, painters, anyone who needs to build an audience and sell to that audience. These are the concepts that we're talking about. And we do it in a really supportive way. Somebody just came in and they were just like, I wasn't used to the overwhelming amount of positivity. And I'm like, okay, dude, I don't know what to say to you. We could try and knock you down a little bit more if you need that. But we would prefer to believe that we can make things happen, and we have power to create opportunities, and we're getting out of victim mode.
Yeah. Nice. And so, that is the Fearless Artist podcast as well. That's the name of it, right?
We also have a podcast, Fearless Artist Podcast. So our handle on Instagram, the Fearless Artist Mastermind, and they can just DM Golden, and we'll send you our free guide to the 10 best ways to post on Instagram. And it's just like a checklist that you can go through to make your content perform better. And it's really working. We've had great success with it.
Nice. Yeah. Do you, this is going back a little bit now, but you mentioned email marketing a little bit before. Do you feel like that's relevant to musicians to do? I know for coaching businesses and stuff like that, it definitely is. But for musicians and things, do you think an email list can work?
Absolutely. It's one of the main things we talk about after the social media presence, because we're ultimately trying to funnel people, right? So people are more likely to engage and trust if you're showing up in their inbox. They're seeing you regularly. We have our musicians trying to aim for once a month, a little monthly update, just letting people know what you're up to. People do like that. I think I always compare it to, people like to go to the zoo and they watch the animals and they're like, oh, wow, they do that all day. So interesting to them. It's so foreign. And I feel like as creatives, someone who has a 9-to-5, even one of my best friends last week, she was just like, I cannot relate to you in any way. And I'm so sorry. And I would love to. I want to be a better friend to you, but I literally don't know how, because your life is so different than mine. And I was like, I don't even know what to say. I thank you for wanting to be a good friend. But so when we share through email, hey, here's a little bit of a longer thing. My email template is always upcoming concert dates. Here's my latest release on Spotify. Here's a funny travel story of something that happened to me. And it's just a gift. You just want to make it very valuable to your audience, a little happy moment in their day where they can read about something that's interesting to them. And I think that just builds this connection and trust that they're like, oh, then they can also look at your concert dates coming up, get tickets in advance. It's not this last minute social media, SOS, my concert's tomorrow and I've only sold 12 tickets. So please come and bring your grandma. The email marketing allows a little bit more of a long-term relationship.
Yeah. I understand how businesses and stuff get people to sign up for email lists with handing out free content like yours. But how would a musician get someone to sign up to their email list? Do you think they should offer something free? And maybe don't want to throw you under the bus, but do you have any ideas of what kind of content they could give out for free to get that?
Oh, it's my best strategy. I'm so glad you asked. I have it was actually a really funny story. I played in Eindhoven at one of the most beautiful halls, and the woman accidentally recorded it because she didn't know if she was supposed to or not, the sound engineer. So I was given chocolates by an audience member. It was just a beautiful story of giving. So they gave me the chocolates. I can't eat the chocolates. I'm trying to fit into the dress. My personal trainer follows me on Instagram. He literally calls me out every time I post a bagel. So I'm like, who can I give these chocolates to? So I go find the recording engineer. I give them to her and she's like, oh, that's so nice. By the way, I accidentally recorded the concert. I don't know if you need it. I'm like, professional microphones on the best Steinway in one of the best halls of the country. Yes, I need it. So I'm not allowed to release it because I don't have the rights, but I clipped up a song, put it on SoundCloud. Every time somebody follows me, hey, thanks so much for coming to the show. What did you think? Oh my God, we loved it. It was so great. I cried, blah, blah, blah. Great. if you want, here's a free private recording that's never been released. All you have to do is here's your email and you'll get it. Oh, wow, that's so nice. And by doing this, I've built my mailing list to almost 2,000.
Nice.
Yeah.
And that's just on, and then your follow up with that is just monthly emails.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm thinking about how I didn't send my July update, but yes, the plan is to send monthly emails. Yeah. Yeah,
because you can get into I think people, again, don't want to do email lists because they think people will find it annoying and, I mean, I don't think anyone gets that annoyed by an email, right?
I mean, if you think it's annoying, then ask yourself how many times you see an ad on a bus stop, on a billboard, on Instagram, on Facebook, in the newspaper, and ask yourself if you think that's annoying when like Nike's trying to tell you what their latest, it's like, I'm sorry, but we need to take ourselves seriously. If you want people to know about you and your work and come to your concerts and buy your album, then they need to know about you. And for every person that you annoy, there are 10 more who are interested and will potentially become buyers and supporters of your career. So yeah, you have to risk annoying people. Like I know many people unfollow after they come to a concert and they don't stick around. But if they're on the email list, I still have access to them. And you need to build a fan base as a musician. It's part of the job.
Yeah, I feel like that was a good mic drop moment to the end of the episode. Just before we kind of finish up, I'd love to just go through the quick fire round with you.
Let's hear it. I'm ready.
So question 1, what is the most effective thing that you've done to market yourself or your business?
Not be shy from sharing.
Nice. So nice and quick answer as well. Like some of these end up going on for like 10 minutes sometimes. So
I'm trying to respect your rapid fire because I know exactly what you mean. Like,
so question 2, what have you learned in the last 3 months that you wish you knew 3 years ago?
The last 3 months? Oh man. I mean, I feel like I'm just in the grind the last 3 months. Like you just need to do the things you know to do. Put in your practice hours, go to the gym, stop complaining, go to bed on time, get off your freaking phone and like the results will come. Like just stop complaining. There's no reason, just do it. Do the daily grind.
Perfect. If you were just starting out now, what is the first thing that you would do?
Get organized. Excel sheets changed my life, I have to say.
Good stuff. And what is the biggest mistake that you've made in your business and what did you learn from it?
There are 2 things. Lack of consistency in both businesses, like me as a pianist and also the Fearless Artist. My co-founder has had 3 children and she's moved across the world and there's a million reasons / excuses, but that's the answer. And then also doubt, self-doubt. Is this going to work? Am I good enough? Does anyone care?
Yeah.
Am I annoying people? Like that is a mistake.
Yeah, perfect. And then lastly, do you use any specific tools or apps to help manage your businesses?
Yes, Asana changed my life. Use Asana or Notion or Trello or whatever you want, project management tool.
Yeah.
And Clockify. Get on the clock and track your hours. And
Clockify, I've not heard of that one.
You can also use Toggle. But basically,
Toggle, yeah.
At the end of the week, it spits you out an email summary of where you spent your time. So, don't complain about the work that you didn't do. What's the saying? The lack of results that you had because you didn't do the work. Oh, I practiced so much. Really? What does your Clockify say? It said, 7 hours this week. Is that really so much? No, you can probably do more, right? So yeah, that's, I think Jordan Peterson talks about like, if you want to make a change, you got to first face the reality. And that sucks. It really sucks to face the reality. But yeah, that's where this.
I've tried those time tracking apps, but I always end up just like forgetting to use it properly or forgetting to input stuff or
I do too. But then there's like a manual feature afterwards. So you're like, oh, I didn't start it, but I know I did approximately 2 hours. Like we don't want to be religious about these things, but it is a matter of like, did I do what I said I was going to do today? Where's my time going?
Yeah. I've heard time blocking as well is quite a good way of getting good at or just managing your time and stuff.
Yeah. The best way that I finally got my album edits done last week was I turned my phone off and I put it in a drawer. And I was like, this is getting out of my hand.
This has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. So just before we finish, I think we've mentioned already, but where would you send people to find out a bit more about you? Yeah,
for me, this is Michelle Lynne. That's my pianist Instagram. And then if you're interested in musician coaching, career development, it's the Fearless Artist Mastermind on Instagram.
Nice. Any last words before we finish up?
yeah, if you're a musician listening to this and you want to go for it, then you have what it takes. You have what you need. You have the tools, you have the skills, you've put in the work. You might have to figure things out, but it is figure outable. And I think staying positive will take you a lot further than thinking about all the ways that it wouldn't work.
Beautiful. Very nicely put. Thank you so much for coming on. I've really enjoyed it. And I really appreciate you taking the time as well.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
So there we go. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to Michelle for coming on and chatting to me. Make sure you go and check out her podcast. Again, that's the Fearless Artist Podcast. And all the links will be in the episode description. That's it for this one. Take it easy and I'll catch you next week for episode 8.